Goedemiddag. Are there any questions for those already in chat before I start with animation? Do you want to see something? Do you want to see something fixed? Again, you will get the exercises and the solutions next week, so you can search on it for a bit. Why does CSS hate you? It's because you don't like CSS back. You gotta give love to receive love. Need to buy dinner first, of course. And it won't put out the first time. You need to do it multiple times, so take some time. Everything in life takes time. Sound advice from the teacher. Grab your fellow students because not everyone is in here. Again, any questions before I start with the theoretic part for animations? Otherwise, I will start. Normally, if you refresh the page, again, you guys found it. Again, subscribe. I think if you hit the notification bell, you will also get a notification if a new video comes up. You can turn it on, of course, this semester, because I'm only uploading Web 2 content and maybe some fun content afterwards, but mostly Web 2. Next semester, there will be front-end and back-end and Web Advanced. So 3 other courses. So again, if you go just to my page, you see I'm live. So refresh this page if you think that I'm live, or you know that I'm live, and just you can subscribe here on the right. And I think there's a bell here somewhere that actually says like, hey, get me notified when a new video comes up. All right. The first exercise, what do you, so the first exercise, excuse me, which is the button going up and down, right? Now the colors don't really matter. I will, let me check. Animation. Hold on. I am getting the wrong code. Give me a second. Open recent. I think it's this one. Yep. All right. So again, the only difference between this example and the first exercise I need a third screen. So the only difference between this exercise and the first exercise, god damn it, wrong one, is that it doesn't rotate, but it translates. So I'm just gonna change this one. Again, CSS. So in our before element, everything is the same. So it's also top left, but instead of rotation, I'm going to translate it. So I'm gonna set overflow hidden off so you see what is happening. I am not gonna rotate it. I am going to translate it. And I'm gonna translate up, which means it's up the y-axis, and I'm going to translate it up for the same amount that is my height. So my button is, if I'm not mistaken, how large is my button? Can I do percentages? Yeah, okay. So I can do percentages, as you can see, 100%, but it has to come from up top. So this is, the first parameter is X, the second parameter is Y. So in this case, I'm going to do Y, and I'm going to do minus 100%. And then it's up there. So again, then here, translate back to 0, 0, I think should do it. Okay, so that's good. And again, if I hover over it, I want my color to change. So let's say I want to change my letters to black. So color or indigo, whatever, that works. Wait. Hold on. It's the before element. The before element, of course. Give me a second. I need to place a second transition. Yeah, your text. If your text goes away, then probably your z-axis. Look, if I don't have any z-axis, and I do this, then it goes over. So with the z, you have to place it behind the original element. So the before element needs to be behind, and that's how you work with the z-axis, or the z-index, I'm sorry. This one, that's the first thing. And then let's see, I think, so the change is I'm going to do an a hover. Not the before hover, the a hover. A hover. And that will be color indigo. Good for me. But now you see it does it immediately. I don't want that. I also want that transition. So the same as here. I think I have transition transform 1 second. So for A, if there is a transition, if there is a color change, let's make it specific, color change, do it over 1 second. Et voila. That's basically the first exercise. So again, this transition means on A, if there is a color change on A, which we do with the hover in the bottom, then take about 1 second. You can even do slower so that your pink thing is faster there, as you can see. Bam. It's even more smooth. Hover me. And then of course the before, we move it out of the way with transform, set its origin point, and then I don't think we need an origin point now if we don't rotate. Let me check. Yeah, origin point is mostly for rotation. If it's center, doesn't matter. All right, I think we're there. That's the first exercise. Yeah, of course, if you did it differently, as long as it works, it's okay. Like this is hardly an area where you can go wrong. Maybe a bit too much code, but anyway. Any more questions? Exercise 4 is, let me check what the exercise 4 is. Yeah. I will show that after the theory. So at least you guys have the theory, and those who want can stay. Those who understand it can go to work. Why are you still seeing my face? Boom. All right. Animation and keyframes. The third one is hard. I don't know what the third one is. Let me check. The third one takes a bit more thinking. Yeah, I think the fourth and the fifth is even easier than the third one. The third one has multiple things going on, but it's okay. No, five is quite easy compared to 4, but it's multiple things again. It's multiple things. What do I need? 2 lines, so 2 divs, and then etc. etc. Anyway, no worries. If you see the code, it probably will be all right. It's quite easy. It's to train you. Like this is something you need to train by experimenting, figure out your own logo and experiment with it. All right, animation keyframes. Most of the things you saw by now are animations that do one thing and then go back to the original state. That's the transform and transition part of the CSS. Now we're going to look at animation and keyframes. Now, why do we do this? Like for example, for things that keep on animating. One of the examples would be a loading icon, or for example, the lightning effect you just saw. So something that is constantly busy. Good. Now, what do we need? We need a new property added as in keyframes. Add keyframes. That will define the animation rule. The rule determines what is going on in the animation. It doesn't have any link to any element on the page. That we will do later. So at this point, we have add keyframes and we have a name. So in this case, it's moving. We're going to make a box move over the screen and we're going to keep adding to it in our demo. Again, I will do a demo with this and you guys are going to pitch me ideas and I'm going to try to solve them on stream. The last session, people were shouting, make it spin, make it do this, make it do that. And we just figured it out on the stream. It was a very good teaching moment. Anyway, we have multiple ways of adding things or states to an animation. In this case, the most easy one is the from and to. We start from a certain position or we start from a certain situation, a state. Again, lots of things can be in there. You see only transform here, but you can add way more things as you will see in the demo. And to is the endpoint, which means this is an object that if we add the animation rule to, it will start on its basic position on 0, where it's located normally. and it will locate to 800 pixels to the right. It will move to the right side. That's it. Now, of course, if we have a div of a width 150, height 150 with a background color and text color, for example, you can add that animation to it. So the animation name is one of the new properties, is moving. So that's the one we just made with keyframes, as you can see here next to the keyframes tag. And then how long does it take for that box to move from position 0 on the x-axis to position 800 on the x-axis? Well, if you do that, you get this example. Again, see here, there's nothing fancy going on. The box is scraping the side of my browser. There is no specific things going on. And you see it always keeps resetting to the beginning. So again, this is the very basics of what an animation is. Now, of course, we can fine-tune that animation. One of the more interesting things, of course, it would be very sad if we can only do like one or two basic things in like going from one place to a different place and then stop. You can add way more stages. A Dev 1 flashback? Yeah, but now we're doing it the cool way. Basically, good to know. In Dev 1, you used the canvas. And the canvas is an element in HTML that you can work with, and lots of how should I call it, animation libraries work with canvas. So for example, I shall give some links later for those who want to experiment. So actual JavaScript libraries allow for very cool things, but they need a canvas to draw on. Why? Because it's way easier to draw things using code than it's to adjust CSS. So like I said, you can do everything with CSS, but you get like infinite power for the CSS gods if you add JavaScript to it, just like anything else. Just add a bit of JavaScript and everything becomes better, basically. And it's also a lot more manual work. Those frameworks allow you to, with like 2 lines, and you have like, for example, a full screen animation that, let's say, has all the physics applied to it. So if you move a ball across the screen, that it has actual gravity to it. That's like 2 lines of code, while if you were to do that in CSS, which is possible, you would have 100 lines of code because you actually have to build the logic in CSS. Again, moving stages. So I want to move the box to the right side, and after that, I want to move the box to the bottom side. So to the right, to the bottom. Here we have 3 points, 0%, 50%, and 100%. What it basically means is that for an animation that is, for example, here, 3 seconds long, and the 50% mark means that I need to be in this state at 1.5 seconds. Or if the animation is 6 seconds, 50% should be achieved at 3 seconds. 50%, half of 6 is 3. So that means the box is to the right at 50%, and after that, at the end of the animation, 100%, it's at the right bottom. So at 800 pixels, 500 pixels. Note that this means, translate 800, doesn't mean it's going to add an extra 800. That's just the position on the screen. So if it's already on 800, then if you want to move it straight down, it's still on position 800 on the x-axis, but it needs to move down 500 pixels on the y-axis. All right. So for example, here, in 3 seconds, I can do this. 1, 3, 4. All right. Now, again, it keeps resetting. We can do stuff with that. We'll see. Now, fill mode is one of those properties. We're going to see every different property now. I think there are 3 more that allows us to fine-tune our animation. Okay. Mostly used on the element itself. Again, in here, the animation in here, in the keyframes, is mostly what you just learned. You've learned transformations, you've learned color changes, all those things. You can all do in the keyframes, but on the element itself, on the div, you can add way more. So you have the name, you have duration. Fill mode is the next one. Fill mode forwards, it stays on the last frame of the animation. So example here, if we want the block to stay here, at the end, then we use fill mode forward. Backwards means that it won't be available until the delay is done. Again, experiment with that. I never use it to be fair, but you can. and both, of course, applies both methods. Iteration count, much more important and way easier to understand. How many times does it have to iterate? So is it an infinite loop? The lightning effect that I just saw, that I just showed you in the previous session, has an infinite loop. The light keeps going. And then here's where it gets tricky. You cannot, once you code it in CSS, you cannot change that, or you have to remove a clause or something like that. But again, then you need to use JavaScript. So JavaScript can help with controlling animations, but that's totally not for this session and also not needed for the course assignment. Now, infinite, of course, keeps going, or iteration count, if you just add a number, then it will do that amount of iterations. So 3 times, and then it will stop. Timing function, again, ease in, ease out. Now I can show you in the demo after this what those actually mean and how it's different, how they react differently. So that's also possible with an animation. And the direction. So do we start normally, as in from 0 to 100, and so go from left to right to bottom? Or do we go reverse? Do we go from bottom to top to left? That's also possible. Or if we have an infinite loop or multiple iterations, you can do alternate. So think about the box that goes to right, bottom, top, left. So it keeps going back and forth like a ping pong ball in between the corners. That's alternate. And alternate reverse is starting at the end and then keeps alternating until the infinite loops are done. And then the last one, and it's already done, you have a shorthand as well. I will not be using that until I've completed my demo, and then I will show you, instead of like 5 lines of code, you can do everything in 1 line, which means every term that I just said, like direction, the timing function, the iteration, can all be put into 1 line, as in it doesn't matter where it is. So the name of the animation, infinite, a number, the seconds, that's the only thing that is tricky, in the sense that the first amount of seconds is how long the animation takes. The second amount of seconds is how long the delay is before the animation starts. So that's the difference. Again, I would say, let's go and do some magic. All right, let's see where we are at. Example button. I will not use that. I will use... Yes. Okay. All right, I'm going to grab my slides. I'm going to just make this. Okay, there's nothing on there, which is normal. I just have an empty div. Empty that. Et voilà. Any questions so far before I start the demo? Are always welcome. So again, I am going to place my div. I'm going to give it a color. Width 100 pixels. Height 100 pixels. Of course, I shall make it a bit bigger, because otherwise I need to zoom in a bit. Of course, a background color, so I know what it is. Anyone have a guess on what color we're gonna take? No suggestions? Again, wrong. It's hot pink. Yes. And we don't see anything yet. Where is my div? I should include my CSS file, of course. Et voilà. Good. Perfect. Now, I'm going to add an animation. Let's start with that. So an animation, like I said, we need keyframes. So add keyframes, moving, and I'm going to make from and to, just a very simple one. Again, what do I put in here? Anything you want to do at the beginning of the, where does it need to be? For example, I can do a transform, I can do a transform already, as in translate 0, 0. I want it to be at the base level. And at the end, I want it to be at this position, so 800 pixels to the right. That's where I want to be. Now, how do I add this? Animation name. I'm going to add an animation name, which is moving. And of course, then the animation duration. 2 seconds. And we have it. Starts moving. And it resets back. So now we're going to play around a bit more. I'm going to make I'm going to leave some space between the bar. So it starts here. Okay, good for me. Again, I have made the first movement. Now, of course, what if I want to, and now I need you guys from the chat. Looks like my thing froze. Okay, my face was frozen. Okay, from the chat. What if I want to make the box go around? So I want it to move to the right, to the bottom, to the left, and back to its original position. How do I do that? How would I change my animation? Anyone in chat? Percentages, yeah. Which percentages? People are asleep. So we're gonna make 4 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, and add in the start position of 0%. So we need 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. And again, this is a bit more busy work in the sense that I need to actually map out. Of the thing. So Meg, you said 0, 100, 100, 100, 100. 100 is the end of the animation. That's the end of the animation. That means that from 0 to 100, you cannot have multiple 100%. This means that whatever is in here will be crossed in 2 seconds, and at 25% of 2 seconds, which is half a second, at half a second, it needs to be at this position. At 1 second, it needs to be at this position. At 1.5 seconds, it needs to be at this position. And at 100%, it needs to be at, let me think, it needs to be at 50-50, yeah? Did I make a mistake? Yeah, debugging is a bit of a bitch. Yeah, no, it's a good question. You're probably not the only one who thought differently. Why is it? Okay, now I'm gonna make it 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, it goes a bit to the left here. 50. You know what? I'm gonna make it infinite. Animation, timing function. Nope. Oh, timing function. Okay, I will ease in, ease out. And then animation, no. Iteration count, that's it. Infinite. 2. All right, perfect. Now we have an infinite going on. Now, ease in, ease out, that's one of those. It's slow, fast, slow, if I'm not mistaken. Ease out is strong start, slow out. So ease out like uitbollen in het Nederlands. Ease in. Ease in is slow start and fast at the end. And then of course the most logical one is linear. That's just a constant speed with no fancy things whatsoever. I'm a fan of ease in out, so I'm going to be using that. Again, the duration, you can do it 1 second. Then you have this thing. Or you can go like really crazy and can have like this. So again, you can still go faster. You can always go faster. But now you're capping on frames, which is very fun to see. On your screen, you see 3. If I'm not mistaken, you see 3 very slowly twirling a bit. I have 6 on my screen. Any idea why that is? Like I physically on my screen, I have 6 different flashing things that I see. Yeah, sorry for people with epilepsy. Just a second. Why do I have 6 and you guys see 3 in the screen? Yeah. Arne. Yeah. Don't you have to be at another school and learning stuff? Frame rate and refresh rate, both different things. This is purely it's frame rate for you guys, it's refresh rate for me. Why? I am checking on my OBS. I think I put it in 30 frames per second. So I only send 30 frames to you, to YouTube. So that means you're getting half of what I get and even less because I have 144 Hertz. That's my refresh rate. And that is 144 refreshes per second. So even if there were more, then I can see more. Okay. Good. Again, infinite. I'm going to turn that off for a second. The fill mode, you can see the fill mode is nothing special. Iteration count we saw. Timing function we have. Direction. Say that we have an infinite mode and we wanted to do one loop-de-loop and then go back another loop. So then we do animation direction, and we have multiples. So we can start in reverse. So that's basically, it always goes infinite in reverse. It keeps going. Or we can start in alternate, which it will do one iteration correctly, the normal way, and then it will go back. That's alternate. So you can see the possibilities here with like infinite loops and with loading animations. I have a very, very cool one that I made based on this. If anyone has any suggestion on what we can still do with the box, let me know. And I will add it. What else can we do? Make it spin. Well, I can do that. Let's say, well, perfect. I'm going to ask it for you. How do I make it spin? How do I, and I'm just gonna, how do I move to one side and then do a 360 to one side, reverse 360 to the other side, then again a 360, and then a reverse 360. So it keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So how do I do that? Anyone a suggestion? Make a trail. Let me think. I think with the trail, I don't know if I can make a trail. Let me think. I think we need to add before elements on the same place that have delays on the animation. I think that's the way how to make a trail. Rotate 360, then rotate minus 360. All right. So I assume somewhere in here. So let's say from the start position, at the first corner, I need to be rotated 360 degrees. So you cannot put two transforms in here. You can add another one in here. Rotate 360 degrees. Now that's weird. Can anyone tell me why? I'm just going to put infinite loop back on. Why does it rotate to the 25%, the right corner? And then it twirls again here. Why does it twirl again here? I have no rotation written down here. Can anyone tell me? It goes back to 0 degrees, correct. So that's actually what I want. I wanted it to go clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. So I will add it here. If you want to keep rotating it, you can do this. And then normally clockwise, nothing. 720 then? Okay. 720. That's so you can keep going up if you want to keep turning, but I'm gonna move it away to keep it clean. And voila. I have to experiment with a trail. I have an exercise ready that I can do that with. I don't know it by heart, but like a basic thing as well is make it change color each time it goes. So, for example, if I go here, then I can do background color, indigo. So that's also an option. All right. So lots of opportunities. Again, if I now we see this is a good thought experiment. As you might see, I think you see most of the yellow, red, and blue. I can't with these colors. Last session, I somehow had a combination that there were different colors, all of them, and I made them spin so fast that you only saw the core colors, like red, green, blue. I don't know if I can replicate it anymore. 6. Wow. Okay. Before I go into other exercises and explain them, any questions on animations? Oh, yeah. So the animations again in the session. This is what I made earlier. This is quite cool to do. So Again, I don't have a trail. I need to look into how to make a trail. I have to think about that on how to do that. I think you would work with an extra element with a delay and opacity. That's what I would suggest. But that's really physics, because you need to have the same speed if you have ease in and ease out, because it has to come behind it. Good question. I'm gonna see if I can if I can do it. I cannot guarantee it. But again, you should now be able to download the zip file with all the exercises and go do that. In the meantime, I will make sure and try something else. So the exercises here, of course, I've shown them in the beginning. This is a good challenge, the lightning one. I'm gonna grab my code. Give me a second. All right. So, exercise 4. It's been a while since I've done this, so. Display flex. We have UL, LI elementen en dan een A daartussen. Dus die UL zelf kunnen we al stylen. We can style the UL elements. The list style, none, because I don't want those. Then display flex, so everything comes behind each other. Yes, perfect. Padding 0, margin 0. All right, and now I think everything is connected. Everything is encapsulated by an A, so we can maybe space out the A's. I think that might be a good idea. Let me think. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Home about service team contact. Home about service team contact. Just, I'm expecting a package, so give me a second if... What else? The A elements, so UL, or both of them. Again, this is mostly due to experimentation and the guy explaining it, but most of it is I think the hard part is the spans, of course. I would assume that you guys have way more knowledge than me in CSS from Web 1, and most of the other things you do, I hardly use CSS for anything, which is a shame, really, because I really like it. I really like experimenting with the, how's it called? The animations. Okay, now we have at least some space. That's something. Just gonna see what's in my demo. Line height and text transform. Capitalize. Text decoration is ugly, so remove that. We color that I have been using was yep. Center, that's also good. Relative. And I think we have a base for detailing the spans. Of course, if I think the text became white. If I go look at, it's not in here. The text became white, and then the color that went over is the same as this one. So A hover. Okay, that's good. Now we can do the, let me think. We can do the transition, basically, if we have a transition. Okay, in 1 sec, maybe a bit faster. Okay, so the white works. You could test it out with something else, of course, something that you are able to see if you're doubting. Okay, white, and then let me think. We have the spans. We can color the spans. I think we should go with that next. Hold on. Yeah, the spans. So sorry. There's rumor downstairs. Kids just got home, so span. Stopping a hover just snaps it back to the normal state. use minus comes back. Let's say it takes some time, just the 2 seconds. 1, 2. So I don't know what you do about the normal state. Doesn't happen here yet. So again, position absolute. The background color of a span is the same, so it's hashtag 2626. We don't see the span yet, but if we make it 100%, let me think. Width of 100%. Does it do something then? No, the height, of course, the height. There's no height, so I assume we have 4 bars per section. So that means each bar is 25% high. So height, 25%. Okay, that looks very weird. Let me think. What else can we do? And we have to place it top left. So left 0, top 0. Left 0. Okay, that's something. Now we have all those. That's only 1 bar. I think I know why. Because we have to individually replace the other bars. And I think that's it for the span itself. We're not doing the transition or the animation yet. Oh, there is no animation. This is one of the first exercises. So this is I'm going to make them small, first of all. Let's do that. I'm going to transform them. Transform. Scale. Let's go scale. Scale the X value to 0. And then there should be nothing. And if I hover over the span, if I hover over it, a.hover, then I will adjust the span to transform scale to 1 again, I assume. Let me think. To the 1, yep. And there's a transition. Transition all 0.5 seconds. Did I have made a small written mistake? Let me think. Oh, the seconds. Okay, so the bar moves, but now we need to start from the left, so we need to change it or its origin point. So transform origin left. Let's start with left. Ah, okay, I think I saw it. That's good. So I'm going to change this back to white. I'm going to make this back to 1 second. So now the trick is on getting those other ones. The other ones is nth child. So span, which span do I want? The nth child. So that means we have 2, 3, 4. We need to change the second one, the third one. We need to change the position of the, and we need to add some delay. I think those are the 2 things. I think top 25%. let's start with that. And then 50 and 75. Oh, of course, 2, 3, 4. Now we have them all. We need to place them behind the text. So that's the Z index. Z index -1, which we get now. Okay, perfect. And now we need to add a delay. So a delay of, how do we add a delay again? Transition delay? Transition delay? Does it work on this one? I think so. Transition delay. 0.3. Trying it out. 6, 9, because we need to add, it needs to be like phased in. Aha. Okay, the delay can be a bit quicker, so that's good. Well, it's half a second, so 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Ah, okay. Now we have it. So again, I made this before the exercise, so I know the basics a bit. But it's just exercising and trying. All right. Any more questions? You will get the solutions for. This will make your websites give that little more oomph and will make the difference between a silly Wix or WordPress website and your website. Okay. That's it for now. I think I need to go downstairs for a second for the kids. And then I have 2 people who had questions. I will help them immediately afterwards. And otherwise, if you still have questions, let me know. Otherwise, the lesson ends at 6 o'clock. Try to add, of course, I will be... no, you're not allowed to use animation libraries. Animation libraries take a whole different method of working with. Best practices, Canvas. That's not the focus, let's say. If your project is finished next week or in 2 weeks and it's perfect, and you want to turn it in on the 18th of December, and then you want to add animation libraries, you can do that. But as a bonus, I would focus very hard on the basics, because lots of people get the basics wrong or miss the perfection, the structure that is needed for a decent full stack website. That's it. Also good news for those who are in front end and back end, and eventually, of course, if you bump through to the 3rd year next year, I have been working with Riel Dolman, which is a company, a very big company that has given lectures here, of course, in Flexbox and FlexGrid, but I've been working also with them behind the scenes for Web3 and for other things that they're going to be doing in front end and back end. They have lots of knowledge. They're going to do API management with Node and Express. They're going to give a session next week for my 3rd years, but on an advanced level. How do you get 1 million requests, and how do you make your server not crash? How do you work with security? How do you work with Node Express? All very cool stuff. So again, this is the basics. They were surprised that people in the 3rd year even know the basics from Node and Express, because they hardly see it at other schools. So that's a leg up you have if you're in the web industry. So again, I have lots of sessions lined up with them. And I think it's also very cool that if you're searching for an internship next semester, that might actually be a very decent place to go to. They have a very good system in place of training students. And also they have a good salary and stuff. So if there aren't any more questions, I will leave you to it. And I will see you in Teams if you have questions. If not, have a good weekend if I don't speak to you anymore. Have a good CMV. Friday is a holiday, so enjoy. Lay everything down, watch a movie, Go spend a day with your knuffelcontacts. And all those things. All right. Take care and have a fine evening.